everyone, Stella here, and I'm here to do your mid-March readings. These readings are for your sun, moon, and rising sign. If you're brand new here, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. If you're returning, thank you guys so much for sticking with me, and I love you guys. So I'm gonna jump right into it. There's a lot of energies going on right now. There is a lot happening astrologically. We have a lot of Pluto, we have a lot of Mars energy, we have a lot of Jupiter, which is, expanding everything. Especially towards the last half of the month, there's a lot of room for misunderstandings, short tempers, for people to either interpret something somebody said and take it personally. That's really the energy, taking things personally. We see it in the media, we see it in the collective, and on an individual level. We are going through a spiritual enlightenment in the collective. People are waking up. People are not tolerating bullshit or arbitrary power systems any longer. And it's part of coming into Aquarius and us embodying or claiming our personal energy. So March is going to be really important for that. In those moments where we're checked out of ourselves, where we're focusing on the collective, or our emotions have taken us out of our body, grounding us back into the body, is going to be key towards the end of the month in balancing all of these sort of chaotic energies that are going on. When you feel that emotion, take a moment to really sit and be present with it and release it, because if you don't, that's where we can get into trouble later in the month, okay? All of my readings, if you are new, are done with the intention to provide you with the insight, guidance, and inspiration that you need so that you can make the choices most aligned with your highest good. When you find it is when you're meant to find it, right? God, universe works in mysterious ways, and it is my honor to be able to do this truly. If you have questions, comments, feedback, please put them down below. I will link my website where you can purchase a private reading down below. I will link my email as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw one card, one or maybe two, for the general collective, and then we'll get into your personal readings. So what does the general collective need to know for the month of March? Knight of Cups reversed. So right off the bat, I'm getting like a Uranus connection, very watery, very sort of Pisces energy. We are in Pisces season right now. That's the other thing. Emotions are deep currently. Emotions run deep. The emotional current is very much, contradicting myself. It's deep, right? So the emotions are down there, but it's like right at the surface, right? It's available to us. So emotions that sometimes are buried down below are very much available during this time, during Pisces season in general. And so that's really the challenge, is to get to learn your inner landscape a little bit more, get to learn how to work with your emotions to turn them into your allies rather than your enemy, okay? So let's pull one challenge and one guidance. Two of Cups. Ooh, they're both reversed. Two of Cups and the Six of Wands. Challenge, guidance. Two of Cups is your connection with somebody else. So you can see cups represent the water element. You can see these two people are sharing or exchanging cups. They actually have their arms crossed, so she's like feeding him and he's feeding her. So this is emotional exchange with somebody else. It's in the reverse. So again, emotions are high right now. There is a lot of sort of rage, a lot of anger, aggressive energy, deceptive energy with Pluto right underneath the surface. So at least from now, whenever you watch this in the middle of March to, I would say, like the end of the first week in April, just be very conscious of what you say, what you do, and your temper. And if something does flare up inside you, give yourself some space. Don't react immediately, because it's going to be better if you give yourself time to settle and to think about what you're feeling specifically, than if you just react at this time, okay? And then your guidance is the Six of Wands reversed. Six of Wands is a card of celebration. It's a card of, like, he's a soldier that's gone out to battle and he's coming home and he's being celebrated. He's like participating in a parade, basically. So two things I'm getting from this. Number one, don't rely on like accolades from the outside, okay? Don't allow your self-worth to be based in what other people have to say to you or about you for the remainder of this month, specifically for that reason, because tempers are high. That energy is right underneath the surface. And if you take too much, like if you invest in it too much, right, it's going to end up hurting you. So just take everything with a grain of salt. Know that this time will pass, and again, work on finding your center and finding your value from within, right? God made all of us, God, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, made us all, wonderfully and perfect and beautifully. And it's up to you how you get to utilize that energy. But the fact that you exist is proof of your worth and of your value, right? So that's what it comes down to this month, reminding yourself of that constantly. The other thing that I'm getting is I'm getting like false, like compliments sort of thing. So be careful about people giving you compliments again and taking it to heart, because at this time it may not be coming from like a pure place, because everybody's got this kind of tough energy. We're all going through it, right? So fill your cup from within. Don't rely on the outside to make you feel good, and be careful with those relationships. Be careful with relying or having expectations of others, right? That Uranus energy can be very unexpected. So just take everything with a grain of salt, allow it to flow, and know that it will pass. Okay. All right. I love you guys. On to your individual readings. Hi, my Virgo friends. Stella here, and I'm here to do your mid-March readings. I'm going to jump right in. When I was tuning into your sign and meditating, I got a couple different images. So, I don't know if you guys ever studied the Native Americans, but here where I live, you had to do it in like grade 4, something like that. And anyways, I'm getting the image of like a mortar and pestle. So here you can find them in, natural spaces, or we have like a regional park that has these rocks. I don't know what you call them, but basically they're like big granite boulders, and you can see there's these depressions in the boulders where over years and years and years the Native Americans gathered the acorns, or the nuts, the fruit, the food, and they ground it down in these holes. And over time, I'm sure at one point it was just like a small depression in the rock, and then it got deeper and deeper. And it's archaeological evidence of these peoples and their behaviors, right? I know that's a strange analogy, but is there somewhere in your life where you're allowing yourself to feel ground down, right? Either that, or are you the one grinding, and it's like you're 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 between a rock and a hard place, right? And you're using two very difficult things to create food or sustenance for yourself. So I'm just getting, and then I'm also getting the phrase or the image, like a round peg in a square, or a square peg in a round hole. That's even worse than a round peg in a square hole, right? Because a square will not fit into a round space unless it is smaller than that space, right? So are you being, is there somewhere in your life, especially this month, where you feel like you're being forced to, fit yourself into a mold where you don't fit, or you feel like you're being sort of ground down? Or are you just working really hard and you feel like you have to make sacrifices, on either side, in order to get to grind the nuts down into something that's usable, right? To take the raw materials and make them into something usable, money, finances, it could be even, in art, in relation to creativity, whatever analogy or however it fits into your world. What does Virgo need to know? What does Virgo need to know for March? Virgo. Okay, I'm going to take that one. We got the Six of Coins reversed. Six of Coins is about giving and receiving, charity, either being received or being given. It's also about like divine gifts, you know. In the springtime, you see how the coins look like fruits on this vine, right? So it's like when the time is right, the plant will bear fruit, and at that point you can just reach up and grab it, right? But it's in the reverse. So I think you're feeling like you're not getting resources. I feel again like you've put in a lot of time. You feel like you've put in a lot of time and you're not getting the resources back. And the more that you do this thing, the more it's causing you to sort of feel like a square peg in a round hole, where you're, you know, it's like you're doing the work, but you don't feel like you're reaping a reward. And you feel like it's turning you into something that you don't necessarily want to be. This could be very much in relation to your job. It could be finances. It could be a lot of different things. Virgo, you guys have a great work ethic. You guys are extremely, you know, conscious of resources, and you're really great at setting up your daily habits and daily patterns to support your life. But with that, you can also get burned out pretty easily. Or not easily, but because of, you know, through the sheer fact that you work so hard. I didn't mean easily, because you don't burn out easily. You burn out due to the sheer amount of work that you take on. Okay, and then up above we got Temperance and Death. So Temperance is, these are what's overall influencing your reading. Temperance is the need to have patience. It's the need to balance, you know, forward motion and reflection with hard work and, you know, emotion, balancing all of the elements. That in combination with this feeling like what I just described, where you're working really hard. And then we have Death, which is a new beginning. Death is the ending of one thing and the beginning of another. And patience. It's going to require patience for you to get out of where you are now. And humility, you know, it's almost like having a beginner's mind, right? Okay, what does Virgo need to know, please? Okay. Flow. And I have the urge to look at the bottom of the deck. I don't normally do that, but we have the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is about speaking your truth. Ace of Swords is about being unafraid to speak your truth, knowing that everything arises in good time. You see the lightning here. This is like very, very unexpected, very like act of God sort of energy. Electric, you know, there's an electric quality to it. And aces are always new beginnings. And this, you see the figure 8 here around the sword. This represents the constant ebb and flow of time, right? So infinity, the concept of infinity. And there is a time and a place to speak your truth in order to, and sometimes you have to do that fearlessly in order to shake things up enough, right, to create a new result. So I think that's kind of where you are, and that does tie into what we have above here. Okay, on your mind, you feel like you're juggling. You feel like you're balancing on a tightrope, and you could make a wrong move and just everything could come crashing down at any time. But at the same time, I think you feel like you're working very hard. Okay, so I've already said that. I'm going to forget my first impressions, and I'm going to just read into the cards here, because I think there's layered messages here. So first of all, on your mind, we have the Four of Cups. Fours are a card of rest and reflection, or a number of rest and reflection. However, it's also a card of like precariousness, like not being able to move forward, almost stagnation, because everything is so balanced that if you move one thing, if this rat moves forward, right, he's going to tip at least one of these cups over. Cups represent your emotions. So it's like you're walking a very tight line right now, and you're very much aware of it. with your emotions, and perhaps something like your finances are depending on your reaction or something, and you have emotions bubbling underneath. In the intro video, I was describing how, oh gosh, how Mars and Pluto energy is really strong right now. That is not a very comfortable place for you. So yeah, there are going to be emotions bubbling up. And you are the earth, you are an earth element, Virgo. So just remember that those emotions, that emotional life, it's important for you to have a complex emotional life, and because it waters your soil, right? And it allows it to be fertile. If you dry up and you don't have any water or emotion, you turn into a desert, right? And I think you're almost like, that's how you're feeling. You're kind of feeling um, like, like there's not enough, like the emotions are right there, but because you're not letting them out, everything is just so stagnant and so still on the surface. But you're afraid to let those emotions come up, or you maybe, it's on your mind, you're thinking about it. What would happen if I upset the balance and one of these cups tips over? But the thing is, Virgo, what if these have water in them, and what if it actually waters your soil, right? What if it actually breathes life into your landscape? So that's something to think about. And then we kind of have this echoed, this Four of Cups, Four of Coins. So I think it's definitely having to do with your work. Yeah, you're worried about allowing your emotions to bubble up, that it's going to affect, your work. Like maybe, your job is such that you just feel like I said, like you're working really hard and you're being forced to, it's like you have to be one way in order to keep the coins coming in. But really you're feeling a different way and it's not authentic to you. And because the Four of Coins is traditionally, it's a man, he's holding four coins, one here, one on his chest, and one on his head. So it's like literally, yeah, he has coins, right? He's got four of them. But if he moves, like what if he wants to make a purchase? What if he wants to give a coin to his family? Or what if he wants to, you know, take it to the bank? Like he's not, the second that he moves, he's going to lose, they're going to fall, right? So it's this feeling of like being stuck and not being able to move. And I think it does have to do with your finances. This is in your recent past and it did show up in the reverse. So I think like maybe you've taken some action that's caused you to, yeah, and then we've got the Two of Coins here and the Eight of Wands. I think you're I think you're leaving an old situation, a job situation that made you feel all those things I just described, and you finally were like, fuck it, it's not worth it to hold on to these things if there's no room for growth, if there's no room for movement, the little bit of stability, because four is not like a large number, right? The little bit of stability that I'm gaining from this isn't worth it anymore, because do you see all the colors too? There's a lot of emotion wrapped up in this. And emotion, as you know, is energy in motion, right? So it has to move. So if you're having to like keep these all still or not move in order to not tip over the cup, there's no room for growth and there's no creativity or expression, and that is not where you want to be. You're getting over a loss, a sadness. So I think for a lot of you, let me pull one clarity card. What is this for Virgo? Of course, it's going to be different for everybody, but I just want to gain some insight on what this is for you guys. Oh, that's funny. The Hierophant fell out. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. This is your job. This is a club or community or society that you're a part of. The Hierophant is societal norms. So it's a collective energy. It is like universities, hospitals, banks, institutions is the best word for it. So obviously a job or a company or a corporation would fall under that category. So this has to do with that for you. For many, many, many of you, it's going to be your workplace. It's going to be your job. And you just aren't willing to toe the line anymore because there's no expression, because there's no life in it. And you want more for yourself and you deserve more, Virgo. But with that, inevitably comes sadness, right? So here we have the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is about having to walk away from something. So very obviously, you're walking away. You've decided that it's not worth it anymore. This was in reverse because you couldn't move. Now that comes back to this. where it requires temperance, it requires patience and tempering your emotions, and perhaps any rash action that you may be inclined to take at this time, because emotions are high, because you have, shaken up the container, if you will. And of course, that ties into the death card, because one thing is ending and one thing is beginning, but the new thing has yet to begin. So you're still sort of like in the grieving process, which is fine. But the Eight of Cups is most definitely walking away. You see how all the cups are shattered, so there's nothing left there for you, meaning you made the right choice. It's in reverse, so I'm going to take this one of two ways. Number one, you're kind of doubting your choice, and that is echoed by your challenge being the High Priestess. The High Priestess is the feminine divine knowing. You see the crystal ball there. You see the tiger as a very feminine, feline kind of energy, and the moon. So this is your divine knowing. This is your feminine intuition. But even if you're a man, or like it doesn't mean feminine as in female. It means the feminine receives, right? It's the divine. It's the things that you just know versus logical deduction, right? Using your logic and your thinking and your reasoning to come up with something. Intuition is like, it just hits you at one point. You don't know where it came from. You don't know why or when, but you know it, and you feel very strongly about it. That's the High Priestess. So this is your challenge. So this is also twofold. This is what universe is asking you to adopt. Universe is challenging you to adopt this energy to help yourself. This is also what you're having difficulty doing at this time. So coming back to the Eight of Cups being in reverse, I want to say either you're doubting leaving, you're having like a moment of, it's scary. It's obviously scary. So you're doubting yourself a little bit, or you're not doubting your decision necessarily, but you're like, I'm not going to feel these feelings. I'm not dwelling in the sadness of this. I'm going to just bypass that and look forward. And again, universe is coming back. You're having, it's difficult for you to just know that you've made the right decision right now because things are so uncertain. But universe is asking you to tap into that knowing, tap into your gut instinct, because that's what's going to guide you through this situation. And I will say, with like everything going on astrologically right now, no, you don't want to dwell in the negativity, but you also don't want to bypass it, because if you bypass it right now, with the way things are astrologically, the next cycle, it's going to come back. If you don't deal with it, if you don't fully release how you're feeling right now and actually feel the sadness and the grieving of leaving something that you may have put a lot of time and effort into, it's going to stay with you. Because if you carry this idea of like, okay, I made the decision, now I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I don't want to feel it. I'm just going to move forward. If that's how you're feeling, I would highly, highly encourage you to tap into those emotions. Go make a playlist, make like an angsty or ragey or sad playlist and just listen to it. And you could be just doing dishes, or doing something around your house, and let that play and just see how your, body moves, or how you react to it. Because I would tend to think that would be a great exercise to allow it to sort of bubble up. It doesn't mean you have to be like, like dramatic about it, but it does mean that you have emotions. So if they show themselves this month, and obviously there's a time and a place, right? If you're at work, or you're at an interview, or you're around your children, or whatever, it may not be the right time to allow yourself to feel frustrated or sad or whatever it is you feel. This is mostly a card of sadness, like grieving. But but then if you notice it come up, then go home. When you get home, when you're in like a safe, quiet space, let it out, right? Like find some way to vent it out. And it feels silly, like it can feel silly to, like, people say like go punch a pillow or go, but there is literally value in sometimes, because when we bury things, we need to like kickstart it, right? So just by doing the action, if you're angry, punching that pillow, or taking a shower and yelling in the shower, or singing an angry song, or some, whatever it is for you, that can jumpstart emotions that would not have come up otherwise. Sometimes they get stuck in the body, and we need to actually go through the physical motions in order to let it out. And it can feel silly, but that's where like the self-love and self-compassion comes in. And just know, it's way better to get it out now and have it done with than have this like sadness and doubt follow you, into the future. So, okay. And then on your subconscious, we've got the 8 of Wands. Wands represent the fire element. They are motivation. They are the why behind what you do. And the eight is very much a number of infinity. It is a number of, just the cycles, the ebbs and flows of time. And again, you see how all these wands are lined up, or they're at least arranged in a very deliberate pattern. And then all of a sudden we have this lightning strike. So this is on your subconscious, but you're having, because you're shaking up your environment, you're having new beliefs, new values, new ideals start to formulate. So universe, it's almost like crack, where before you felt so frozen, right? You felt so stagnant and so like, if I move a muscle, I'm going to upset the balance. And then what's going to happen? So I just have to stay still. I better not breathe too hard. I better not feel any emotion. And that's how you were feeling, because my money depends on it, or because, I have to maintain the emotional, balance within my family structure. I have to be the strong one. Could be either one of those. For a lot of you, it's tied into your money and your value, but it could also be your family and your home. And this is like, maybe you have to say something to somebody that, with this Ace of Swords, you have to say something to somebody that is going to shake it up, that's uncomfortable, that upsets the status quo, that disrupts the balance, right? And that's not a bad thing, Virgo. That's sometimes very, very needed. And it's very much in line with the astrological energy. We've got a lot of like Uranus and Jupiter making everything bigger than what it really is. And so it's not a bad thing to speak your truth to somebody and shake it up, because before you were so stuck. And now that you've made a decision to change, and you're leaving one thing behind, and but you're not quite at the new thing. It's like created a crack that's allowed this God energy, or this energy from the universe, this inspiration, this divine, to come down and sort of infiltrate your belief system and your values, okay? This is all going on below the surface, so you're not necessarily aware of it, but your beliefs and values are changing. And then we have the beautiful Two of Coins, which is all about new opportunity and money. It is a choice. You have a choice to go one way or the other. This is in your near future. So I think, again, it's just like maybe these people come back and offer you something if it is your job. Or maybe, you spoke your piece and someone comes back to you and says, oh, I didn't mean it, or something like that. So it's like you have an opportunity. You have this new direction that you're moving towards, but you haven't quite yet solidified. And then you have the past coming back and going, oh, like, just kidding, forgive us. Let's go back to how it was before. So you have this choice, and it does have to do with your material physical realm. So it could be your job. Maybe you have a job, you left your old job because it wasn't working for you, but you don't have new opportunity yet. You don't have new coin coming in yet, but the potential is there. And then they come back and they go, oh, we'll give you, your old salary back. We'll give you this money back, or whatever. Is it worth it? You have to decide. I will note that this is a butterfly. Butterflies are a symbol of transformation, because they start out as a caterpillar, right? And then they completely transform, completely, into an entirely different being. All of the cells, completely rearrange themselves. So this is a card of choice. You have a choice moving forward. Are you going to stick with your, intuition, or are you going to allow your fear to let you sort of sink back into the old? the thing is, you've literally already made the decision. You're already moving forward. So all you have to do is have a little bit of faith, Virgo, and in time, this new, the new opportunity will come and will unfold in front of you. I have one guidance for Virgo. I'd like to give them a guidance card. This is it. Queen of Swords. Ooh, Queen of Swords, Ace of Swords. Okay, this could be a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius female or sort of feminine energy in your life. This could be somebody giving you advice, the harsh truth, right? I always think of her as like off with her head in Alice in Wonderland. I think of her as that, what is it, the Red Queen. She does not mince her words. You see the spikes on her helmet, on her helmet, her crown. She is she can be a cold-hearted, bitch, but not because she's actually vindictive, because she knows sometimes you have to do things that don't feel good because they're right? So she does stand up for what's right. She does rule her realm. She does nurture her realm, but she does it in a very intellectual, logic-based way. And she does not mince her words. She's the queen of, Gemini, or the queen of air. And she's very fluent in communication. She's very quick. She just doesn't get muddied up by the emotion of things, right? She makes decisions based on facts, and she's not afraid to speak her piece. So this would be the advice for you guys, is to adopt some of this energy and don't be so worried about what people think of you. And it's echoed here with this Ace of Swords. These are two different decks. So you're starting a new beginning. You have to tell people, right? It's part of how it is. It might be shocking with this lightning up here, but it has to be done, right? And this is the same energy. It's just like, just stick to your ground. You are the ruler of your little world, right? Your little realm. You get to decide what you do with your life. So by adopting some of this energy, Virgo, either receiving advice that's like very logical like that, or just allowing yourself to be intuitive and then speaking that intuition, because she is female, right? Females are receptive. So even if you're a male, it's like allowing yourself to speak your truth. Okay, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Okay, we're gonna pull your oracle animal, or your animal totem for the rest of the month. What's the animal totem for Virgo? What's the animal totem for Virgo? Ooh, sea serpent. Okay. This is a really important card at the end of this. I love this deck. It's the Wild Unknown Spirit Animal. This is, it goes by elements. So earth, animals, air, water, fire. And then we have the spirit animals, which is what this is. So this is like an ethereal energy. It's not so much practical. It's more universal. Sea serpent. There we go. Cosmic egg. Phoenix sea serpent. Okay. I'm going to show you the card while I read it to you. Healing emotional wounds, expressing desires. The sea serpent represents the energy of expression. Whether it's emotions, creativity, sensuality, or desire, the sea serpent helps us to move forward, to move and direct our energy into a healthy current. When the essence of this card is in balance, we express ourselves creatively and sexually without fear or shame. We know what we desire most. Our hearts are at ease, and our relationships are meaningful and enduring. We loosen the grip of self-judgment, and we let the cool waters of forgiveness in to heal our wounds. When the energy of the sea serpent is not yet activated, our emotions and creativity are left in muddy waters. The current of expression stagnates in some areas of our lives, and in other places it floods. This is important to remember. No matter what the waters of our emotional lives look like, the sea serpent loves us just the same. Like a mother, she wraps herself around us in a gesture of protection. She supports us as we learn to express our true natures. The sea serpent and the second chakra. The subtle energy of the sea serpent occupies the area of the Svatisthana chakra. Located deep within the pelvic bowl, this chakra is known as our center of creativity and desire, and it is associated with the water element. Svadhisthana translates as in her own abode, indicating this chakra is the home of the Divine Mother or the Kundalini herself. So this is your second chakra. This is your sexual, not your sacral, but your emotional chakra. So this is where creativity flows from. This is where sexual desire, lives. This is where the primal urges of creativity. This is where God lives, right? Because what is sex and creativity but the expression of the Creator, right? Of God. So this is what you're tapping into this month. Literally, by staying in this stagnant place, Virgo, and making this decision to walk away, you're literally waking up this energy inside of you, which is huge. You're saying, no, I will not fit myself into this societal norm that does, with the Hierophant here, that does not suit me any longer and causes me to remain stagnant and like feeling like I can't move, like I'm trying to fit myself into like I'm a square peg trying to be fit into a round hole, and I'm just getting worn down like the grinding, like the mortar and pestle, right? I'm just getting ground down every single day just to get the bare like sustenance, just to get the food that I need to eat. I'm done with it. And you've made that decision, and you're literally tapping into nothing less than the creative force of life. You're by making that decision, you're allowing source. You're saying, yes, please show me a better way, source, God, universe. And by doing that, it's going to allow you to express that. Watch out, my kitty. It's going to allow you to express that energy in a way that maybe you haven't in your entire life up until this point. Okay, Kitty wants to say hi. You say hi. Okay. But that's where the High Priestess comes in, because she is that inner knowing, right? Don't overthink it. You guys are very mercurial. You're very, you like to analyze. You like to think. You're very logical. However, this month it's going to benefit you to just tap into your divine knowing, your intuition, your gut feeling, okay? If you feel, that's what you did here. You were done. You waited out. It might have taken some time, but you realized that where you were is not suiting you anymore, and you made that choice. So continue to tap into this, High Priestess energy and trust it, okay? I love you guys so much. This is huge for you, Virgo. I'm really excited to see this. And yeah, if you have questions, comments, feedback, let me know. Let me know what this is specifically to you. I'm very interested in knowing. And I love you guys. I will see you in April.